Hello, I'm Ro. This video will give you some guidance and some important points to consider when filming videos for Hellwatch Leads. I'll give you advice on using the equipment available, but if you have your own equipment, you can bring it. It will help in post-production. I suggest using your best sensor and lens combo as camera A for a medium close-up shot and camera B for a medium shot. Just remember to record at 25 frames per second in both cameras. You're encouraged to be creative and share your ideas with staff at Hellwatch Leads. However, remember that these testimonials have a specific purpose, so there is no point of introducing camera shake with handheld shots or distracting elements in the foreground and background. I suggest watching interviews and documentaries. Pay attention to the composition and the light and how all the combination of elements is flattering to the person being interviewed. My advice is keep it simple and professional by following best practice. Oftentimes, less is more. So, without further ado, let's begin.
LiDOM setup. Begin by placing the dome in an upright position as shown and opening the fabric like so. Pull the rod until it snaps in place. To release the rod, pull it a bit and then push the tab in this way. I suggest pulling opposite rods at the same time. This will not only help you to complete the task faster, but it will also stretch the dome's fabric evenly, which will help you to pull the remaining rods. Once you finish, use the Velcro straps to close the fabric. At this point, make sure this screw is tight before fitting the light. To fit the light, first pull and hold down this lock to remove the cap. Carefully align the Bowens mount with the dome's mounting ring. Fit the light and turn it until you hear a click. Once the light is secure, you can hold it by the handle. To remove the light, pull the lock, turn the light, and remove it like so. You can store the LiDOM with a honeycomb. There's no need to remove it. Mounting the light. First, prepare the stand. Once you have the stand ready, make sure to tighten the lock. Insert the spigot through the mounting hole and secure the light like so. Here we have a side view of how to fit the light with the dome. Once the light is secured in place, you can extend the pole into position. To power the light, first connect the power cable. Connect the other end of the cable to the light's power pack. When you turn on the light, you can either control intensity in increments of 1% by rotating the dial, or press it for increments of 20%. Camera setup. When using the camera's tripod, make sure to use the spirit bubble to help you adjust the horizon. If you use the tripod's central column to elevate the camera's position, make sure to tighten this lock to avoid camera movement. Switch on the camera and use the mode dial to select video. Press the menu set button. The top icon is for the video settings menu. To access a submenu, press the menu set button. Some relevant settings to check are the video format, which could be MP4. In the recording quality menu, you can select the resolution. I suggest selecting 4K at 25 frames per second. The manual exposure mode will allow you to have control to adjust shutter speed and aperture. In the continuous autofocus menu, you can disable autofocus. Further down in page 5 of the main menu, you can adjust the camera's microphone level. Make sure to turn it down to a minimum level. In the settings menu, you can select some helpful functions such as peaking for accurate focus, the histogram for optimal exposure, and the guidelines for correct composition. Outside of the main menu, press the display button to see the current camera configuration. You can access dials by tapping on the screen and choosing a value. For aperture, I suggest a value around 4.5. Tap on the Set button to return to the previous screen. The shutter speed must be 1/50 since you are recording at 25 frames per second. It may also help to reduce flicker if present. Keep the ISO value low to avoid introducing noise. Avoid going above 500. If you need more light, then increase the intensity in the Amaran light. Finally, you can tap on the white balance icon or press the WB button in the multi-selector. Go to the last option as shown to select a value of 5600K, which corresponds to the Amaran light. Only for demonstration, I'll change the shutter speed to show how to use the histogram as reference to avoid clipping brightness. As I increase time, there is more light hitting the sensor, which results in an overexposed image. This is indicated by the histogram skewing to the right. Make sure that no value touches the right-hand border of the histogram. The same applies for underexposed images. Remember that the camera features a touch screen, so you can move the histogram and access some menus to adjust values. To focus, use the side dial. When rotating it, a bar at the bottom appears, showing the horizon icon on the left. Microphone setup. A shotgun microphone is available. You can use it as a backup. However, in this video I'll show the configuration using the Rode wireless microphone. Place the mic in a way to avoid potential friction against clothes, lanyards, or any other object. You can clip the transmitter in the camera's hot shoe. Use the red cable to connect the mini jack to the camera's input. The audio level is indicated by the color bar. You should aim to keep the audio level in the green area. Avoid an audio level reaching the red area. The dB button increases gain at 3 dB intervals. When you test the microphone, if the person's voice is loud, then keep the gain low, perhaps around -18. If the person's voice is low, you can adjust the gain to -9 dB. You should ask the person to speak normally for a long period of time. This will allow you to observe changes in the level and adjust the gain correctly. Additional configurations can be accessed via the Rode Central software. Room layout and composition. If you use two cameras, avoid crossing the interviewer-interviewee imaginary line. The reason is to avoid confusing the audience with shots of the interviewee looking into two different directions. While the interviewer and interviewee go through the questions, you can work on composition and focus. Use the rule of thirds and the guides on the screen like so. After composing the shot, you can press the left cursor button to zoom in. Using the cursor buttons, navigate to visualize the subject's eye. Then, use the focus dial until you obtain a sharp image. When you're done, help the interviewee to wear the microphone. Then, carry out the audio level test to adjust the gain as explained in a previous section. Final tips. Before the interview, make sure storage units have enough memory space. Make sure batteries are fully charged. Be open and confident. Communicate effectively. Ask if light intensity is fine. Ask if interviewee is comfortable with microphone. Ask people to be mindful of cables and tripod. Don't start the interview until all equipment is ready. During the interview, avoid zooming in or out. Avoid recomposing. If interviewee moved, wait until the end of the answer. Then, kindly ask to make a pause in the interview and recompose. Avoid making noise or stepping near the tripod. Avoid changing camera settings, for example ISO. After the interview, remove mics and cables to avoid trip hazards. Move tripods and stands to a safe area. Store equipment tidily back into their bag or case. This avoids losing items. Also, the next user can easily find equipment and use it promptly. Wind up cables correctly to keep them tangle-free.